Satnam, hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Satnam, Siri.
Hi, Satnam.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear all those beautiful, bright voices. So who's here?
Jerry and Juno.
Hi, Jerry and Juno. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fabulous. Thank you.
Oh, good, good. And who else is here?
Dan and
That's
Dallas.
Joe and Juno.
Thought Joe and Juno?
Yes. And Huddy Munder is here, too.
Welcome. Wow. Oh,
Also
okay.
Huddy Munder.
Huddy Munder.
She's still in her shower.
Wonderful. Good. Oh, she is. Well, I'm looking
Right
for
out.
her
She'll be right out.
soon. Okay, good. And there was somebody else who spoke at the same time as Sat Joe.
Suzanne.
Oh, Simran Kaur from Los Angeles is here.
Oh, Suzanne.
Hi.
I beg your pardon?
Hari
Hi.
Simran Kaur from Los Angeles.
Okay. Hadi Nishan, did you say?
Hari Simran Kaur.
Oh, Hadi Simran Kaur.
Yeah.
Welcome, dear.
Thank you.
And who else?
Guru Ravi.
Hi, dear. How you doing?
Hey, sweetie. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. It's a very odd, overcast day today.
Oh.
And there are two little doves sitting on a bare tree. That's how I am today. Glad to have you. What? And who else?
Aloha.
Oh, it's Aloha girl. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm still in
And how is
Barcelona.
Spain?
Spain, actually, there's rain in Spain, so when they tell you there's no rain, it's not true.
Okay. Good. Thank you. And who else is here?
Rahmane and Tomas. Rahmane and Tomas.
Oh, welcome. Welcome. I'm so busy writing your names down, I forgot to say hello. I'm sorry.
I just didn't know if you'd heard me.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And who else is here?
Carol from Juneau.
Oh, hi, dear. Welcome. Another Juneauite. What do you call yourself? Juneau, Aryans? What do you call yourself?
Alaskans.
Oh, we're called Junoites.
Okay. Juneauites. Okay. Thank you.
Or sometimes
and who
we
else
say,
is here? Or sometimes you say what?
oh, this is Jerry, I was going to say, or sometimes my friends in other towns, I would, Juno. That's where we're
Okay. Okay, so all the Juno lights. And who else is here?
Argo Ben.
Did somebody just come on?
Yeah, Hargo Ben.
Hi, Hargo Ben. How are you?
I'm doing good, Siri Gian. How about you?
Good. How you doing with Hey Jack?
Oh, that's so funny. I say that to him a couple of times when I'm getting ready to play gong and in class, at the Shavasana time, and it cracks me up every time.
I've been thinking about it, and it cracks me up, too. I have to tell the people, if you weren't here before, Hargo Ben asked how to address Baba Siri Chand, and Baba Siri Chand said, just for Hargo Ben, he says, you just say, hey, Jack, and I'll be right there. And he is.
So I say,
okay,
hey, Jack, help
and
me
who
play
else
this
is
gong.
here? There you go. He's laughing, too. He loves it. And who else is here? Okay, well, let's get going. So welcome, everybody. And please sit straight, palms are together. Long, deep breath. Then sit, relax into your breath. Relax into your third eye. That's it. Keep relaxing. And projecting. And now, please inhale to begin, tuning in. Long, deep breath. Really feel the flow of the prana. And now on the exhale, please add to that. On the exhale, feel as though the breath is going out of your heart center, called heart breath, healing heart breath. Good. And open up, and please send this beautiful healing heart breath to everybody who is in our class now or who will be listening to it in the future as a recording. That's it. Keep up heart breath. Now, also realize that you're receiving this heart breath. It's coming from everyone, and you are receiving it from everyone. Okay, now take this beautiful heart breath, and it does not diminish as we send it, each one to your own intention. And now, as is our custom, please send this healing heart breath to our U.S. government. We certainly do appreciate your sending this healing to our U.S. government. And now, please also send this beautiful breath to the Middle East. Good. And inhale. And exhale. And being present. And breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Oh, Baba Siri Chand is here. He's such in a relaxed state. It's like when you go on holiday, you know, like you go to the beach and you just sit on the beach and relax. Or sit by the river and just relax. That's what he's doing. That's what his energy is about. He's just kind of dipping his finger in the river. He says the river is the flow. The river is the flow. He says, you know what I'm talking about. He says, I'm talking about the flow of consciousness, the flow of what you call reality. He says, when you live in this flow, which is the purity of consciousness, he says, watching things happen, he says, you participate. He says he's not asking you to step out of participating in this worldly endeavor, but rather he is asking you to be in, relaxing in this state of flow as you observe this everyday life and as you participate in it. He says what we do as humans, we get so involved, so totally involved in what is going on. I want it this way. It should be happening that way. Oh, my goodness. Did you hear? He says, this is what I hear all the time. He says, Baba Siri Chand, I want my health and I want it now. You're a miracle worker. Make it happen. Baba Siri Chand, I want this amount of money. I know you can do it. He says, don't forget me, Baba Siri Chand, and make it happen. He says, you can't believe it. These people call these things prayers. He says, in a way they are. They're a way of sort of baby consciousness, coming up to the next level. He says, but now I'm teaching you the even next level of consciousness. He says that is to be in my grace, to feel it wholeheartedly, to use your breath, to be in the grace of your soul, of your true guru, of the universal consciousness. Right. He says, first, put yourself in that condition. He says many people will call it the meditative condition or the meditative heart. He says, first come and cozy up to us. First come and cozy up to us. He says, use your breath. Use your beautiful breath. That is the basis of your flow. He says, if you are in a very difficult state, if you don't know what to do, if you are in panic or if you are in danger, he says, of course. He says, come to us and say, help me, please. He says, of course, do that. He says, I'm talking about this everyday stuff. This everyday stuff. Keep up your heart breath. When you want your life to change, when you want an opening so that you can relate to your pure infinity, so that you can move out of being squelched by what you see is your earthly powers that be. He says you just do your heart breath and you relax in the flow. He says practice this all the time. He says so that when you are in a very difficult situation or a situation that he calls it tries your peeves. You know how you get peeved, you get annoyed? He says so that when you get in those situations, he says this reaction, this response will be automatic. Automatic. He says you want to automatically reside in the flow of consciousness. He says just keep up your heart breath now. Just relax into it. Relax into it. And as you relax into it, take note of how you feel. If you have any upset, if you have any anxious moments, he says, please just allow them to move in the flow, to be taken down the river to the source. He says, the true source. Just feel that now. He says, I want you to get the experience of flow rather than just talking about it. Get the experience of flow. And at the same time, he says, allow your third eye point, allow it to flow. Allow it to be easy, to be kind, to expand, expand, expand. Keep opening. He says, feel that consciousness, feel that condition. Know who you are. He says, this is your real soul self. He says, you have felt it so many times before, but it never hurts to deepen the habit. You know what I mean? Never hurts to deepen the habit. He says, what if you lived in that? What if you lived in that dimension? That dimension that subsumes all. That dimension which takes care of everything. That dimension which sees you through and allows you to be who you really are. He says, you truly are the flow. He says, when you're in this condition, there is no doubt. There is no worry about strength, about money, about whatever. He says it's all flow. Keep up your heart breath and stay with this. Stay with the beauty of it. Stay with the consciousness of it. Stay with the open-heartedness. Understanding that those who come to you, he says, those who come to you in their vile nature, he says, they're coming for your blessing. Do you understand that? They are coming for your blessing. No matter how perverted or upside down they may seem, flow. Keep up. If you have any such encounters, he says, that are haunting you now, he says, please put them in that flow, using your breath. He says, oh, you think just breath is breathing. Just to put oxygen in your lungs and take out carbon dioxide. He says, oh, no. He says there is a very, very refined system within your nature, within your body, that if you knew what it was, it would blow your mind away. He says it is the oxygen breath, of course, but it is also united totally with the prana, the life source, the life vitality. Keep up the breath, please. And together, the prana and the oxygen breath are called pavan. Pavan. In ancient cultures, ancient sacred cultures, the pavan was revered. People would bow to the breath. He says you still have pranayams. He says understand that these pranayams have extraordinary, he calls it elasticity and electricity. Keep up the breath. He says you will find in future days how the meridians, how the energy channels work when propelled by the breath, when propelled by certain breaths that you unite. He says you will find areas of the brain where these meridian channels meet, and how they bring the Kundalini energy, the awareness, the total awareness of what you call the God. Revere this breath. It is sacred. It is sacred. It is your breath. It is you. He says it propels the flow. Be sure that your breath is long and deep. And also the exhale and the inhale are even. For your long, deep breath, the inhale and the exhale are even. Also for heart breath, same thing. He says, I really, keep up please, keep up the breath. He says, I don't have to tell you that when you stop your breath, you hold your breath. When you get excited and your breath becomes short and shallow, I don't have to tell you what happens to your mind. You are totally scared. He says, or you are totally, he calls it mesmerized. Mesmerized into the fear, into the inability, into the adrenaline rush. At that point, he says you can sustain it for a while, but it is your habit to breathe normally with uneven breath. Your mind will be disoriented. Your mind will be disoriented. He says, please use this most majestic of breaths all the time. That is how you create the flow. That is how you make this space for understanding, for knowing, for being alive. He says, we've all heard this thing about be here now, be present. He says, this is it. He says, being present is the portal to the unknown. Being present to the unknown, the universal, the awareness of understanding who you are, where you are, what is happening. He says that is how the unknown becomes known to you. That is one of Yogi Bhajan's favorite quotes. The unknown is known to me. And it coincides with another of his famous quotes, God and me and God, are one. He said it's the same thing, expressed a little differently. Same thing. Be in that flow. That flow is your God nature. It is cozy. Oh my God. He says, let the love come in. It is so cozy as you allow it. He says, feel it. Feel how rooted in Mother you are. Keep up the breath. How you experience not having to run around to go anywhere, but being present. He says, do you suppose that you could do that even in the most stressful and busiest times of your day? When people are running around, he says they are haunted by the ghost's past and the ghost's future. Could you stay in the moment? Do you have the presence of mind to stay in the present, in this flow, in this pure prana, pavan? Do you have that presence of mind? Have you trained your mind to be in that presence? You may say, but if I'm present, if I'm relaxed, if I'm flowing, how am I going to get anything done? I have so much to do. There's no time to do that. He says, precious one. He says, you just sit yourself down, or you may do this while you are running. As you stay in that presence, he says, all will come through you in perfection, in harmony, without stress. And you will accomplish tons more than you were when you were trying to block yourself off, squeeze yourself out with this overwhelming stress. He says, what would you choose? Would you choose direct access to what is needed in the moment, to be present in the moment? Or would you choose being stressed to the point that total confusion reigns, that you forget, that you get upset, that your mind shuts down to a certain point to focus, but in that focus you lose the whole picture and therefore the whole project? He says, and time is not a worry. If you worry about time, if you worry about time being complete, then your time will be incomplete. It says, who do you suppose is the master of time? Is it that Tasmanian devil? You know, that little Tasmanian devil who swirls around in his own little cyclone? Breathe, please. Or does the time emanate from the place of the unknown? Does time emanate from the place of the unknown? If it emanates from the time, if time emanates from the source, from the place of the unknown, as you stay in total trusting neutrality, you become, you as your whole self, meaning your divine self and your everyday self, are combined into one, and you become the master of time. In this way, you become the master of time. No need for stress. You will be surprised that when you do this, everything happens. It happens in harmony, and it happens in perfect timing. He's telling me to report that so many people I've tried this and it works. It works. You just have to try it. Try it, then trust it. He says time is only a vehicle. Time is only a vehicle to mesh with what you call space. He says, I know you're having a bit of a trouble in uniting the idea of the infinite with the finite. He says, but we are at the integration point. In this Aquarian age, we live by this integration point between the finite and the infinite. He says it's very true. You just have to try it. You just have to try it. So he says, okay, we have just discussed accomplishing. He says accomplishing according to a timetable. But now I also want you to understand that things happen over time as a method of development, as a method of creating. So if you want something to happen, for instance, if you want this bully to quit bullying, he says a worthwhile goal. He says it is a matter of healing over time, and you respect it. You watch it. You see the wonder of it. It means staying in your heart breath, staying in your heart breath, listening to soul, feeling soul, or me, or Guru Ram Das, or whomever you choose. Listen to us guide your way through it. He says if you get piqued and perturbed, he says you will always have a problem. He says because that will ignite the problem to arise. Do you understand? You are lighting the fuse of the TNT for the explosion of the bully. On the other hand, if you stay in that flow of heart breath, long deep breath, and then also, of course, any of your pranayams. Pranayams have a certain purpose according to their structure. Okay? If you stay within that structure, if you stay within that flow that is absolutely expansive, he says, then bit by bit, you heal the situation. We move the situation so that it can sort itself out, so that the dregs fall out the bottom to leave light. He says that is a miraculous process. It is something for you to watch. It is something that happens over time, and something for you in your awareness to recognize as you see it. To do that, this is a very special art of awareness, he says, this watching, this trusting, seeing how patterns change. It is a very special art, and he's asking us to train ourselves in this art of awareness, of being in the consciousness, in the flow, in the soul dimension, with the Pavan, and watch how things change. If your mind gets hung up, he says, you have been to rivers and you have seen that sometimes there's a log stuck in the river, and the river is flowing around it, but the log has branches and it catches all that junk that's coming downstream. You know, all the plastic bags, all of the dead leaves, all of the old grass, you know. It makes a junk pile. He says, but realize that the flow is going around it. He says, now where do you want to reside? Do you want to reside in the pure flow, or do you want to reside in the junk pile? He says, we're going to wait a minute for that to sink in. Keep up your breath, please. Do you want to reside in the flow, which is happening all around, or do you want to reside in the junk flow? Breathe with that. Feel the answer. He says, just don't give me an answer in your head. Feel the answer in your whole body, in your whole mind. And he says, be very sure to let if this is the answer you want, let your whole being vibrate it. Let your whole being vibrate it. It's like vibrating the cosmos. He says, but understand, as you make this commitment, you sacrifice. You know, he says, you have heard all throughout ancient history, ancient spiritual history, up to now, that the spiritual path involves sacrifice. I'm telling you now that the heart, the real knowing, the real episode of sacrifice is sacrificing those judgments, those hurts, those stresses that reside in your mind. You sacrifice them to the flow. So often we want to keep, I need to judge that person because I won't be safe if I don't judge them. I need to run away from them. I need to hurt them. I need to haunt them for my own reasons. He says, my sweet ones, can you sacrifice that? Can you sacrifice that junk pile in the mind? Can you sacrifice it to the flow so that the flow may take care of and heal that situation first in yourself? First in yourself. Even if someone puts you to death, in your mind, if you have trained it, you are not worried, you are not upset, you are not fixated on the torture. You understand that all is the flow. And that flow, trust the flow that it is given to you for your own opportunity, for your own purpose, to let go. And then you will find that you are supported. You are supported in this flow to stand, to be present, to operate from that flow, where there is no place of feeling let down, unloved, uncourageous, fearful. There's just no place. You simply are. You see how effective you become with that partnership, with that flow from the infinite consciousness that knows exactly how to address the situation. And you participate with the infinite flow in all situations, large and small. Your little child is having a tantrum, you flow from the infinite. Do you see? You are irritated that the weather has ruined your day outside. You flow and see what the purpose is. It's most enlightening, and it is most fun, and it is most engaging. Better than any detective show you could ever see on TV or the movies, he says. Understand who you are, what you have access to. If you will jump out of the junk, in your mind and into the flow. Keep up the flow now. Good. And inhale. And exhale. He says, now, my sweet ones, now you are in the flow. He says, this is the true reality. He says, be sure your eyes are open, that you are flowing, not just with your eyes closed, but with your eyes open. He says, and now, my sweet ones, who can share their experience here? Who can share their awareness, their understanding, whether it be highly elevated or you most honestly are grappling with your mind? Because we all are. We all are. There's not one of us who is not still in training in this. He says, including my darling daughter. He's talking about me. Thank you, sir. He says, we all are. He says, who can share?
Hargobin.
Yes, Hargobin.
Siri Gian, I'm just thinking about with the heart breath, because we've been doing this with you for a couple of years, and I try to use it every time that something comes up, to make that the first thing that I go to. And I've found that even with just one breath now or two breaths, it's just moving out whatever it is so quickly. And that's all I wanted to share.
Wow. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, it's amazing.
How extraordinary. Would you mind giving us an example?
Okay, if you were thinking of something that's in your past, maybe, because sometimes, something will pop up that reminds you of something that hits your heart. And, it might be something that makes you angry or sad or fearful or whatever. And then if I just feel the breath, it's like I breathe right into that pain in my heart. And it just transforms immediately. With the first breath, I feel it change. And then usually by the second or the third, then it's fine, But it used to be I would have to work it for a long time. Now it just comes nice and smooth. And it works really fast.
Oh, my God. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, bless you, dear. So when you say you would have to work it through for a long time, about how long would that be?
Oh, you know how it is. When you're having a hard time, it seems like a really long time. But I would say sometimes it was as much as maybe 3 minutes to just keep working until it would go. I could feel that it was working, but it would take that long to move through that energy.
No,
and then especially if you get the opportunity.
Before you use the art of the breath. Before you use the art of the breath, something hurtful would come, and then how long would it take then before you use the art of the breath? An hour, 3 days.
Oh, no, you mean before? Or before when I first started doing it?
Yeah, before.
It would take, it would be minutes. It would be minutes, but now it's down to a couple of seconds. It's pretty amazing. But what I was going to say, though, is that before I started doing heart breath, God only knows, would probably just bury it. I would just bury it. And it would just come back around. I wouldn't do anything about it. I would think I did something about it, but, you think you did something, but it'll sneak back up, and it's right there. You didn't really do anything about it.
Right. Whereas now you were allowing the healing to occur with his heart breath.
And we're all getting lots of opportunities because we're getting so hammered with karma that we're getting lots of opportunities to use heart breath. And if you don't, wow, I don't know what you would do.
There you go. And he's saying, frankly, that's why we have been looking forward in the Aquarian age to people going nutty, for people, to be confused and out of their mind.
Yeah, desperate.
He says it's increasing. It's increasing, he says. But with your Kundalini Yoga and meditation, you have, oh my God, he says you have such a treasure chest.
Oh, yeah.
Of all ways to move into the flow. And then, of course, the heart breath is immediate. He says, thank you for being such a sweet son.
Thank you.
Who else can share?
Siri Gian?
Yes.
Siri Gian. Tomas would like me to share his most recent poem with everyone, and I think it's an incredible example of staying with the flow, the vast universal flow. In fact, it uses the word flow. So it's called...
It uses the word what?
Flow. Universal flow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Rap for my heart tribe. Sometimes when the tide of feeling rises, I feel more like a leper than a leopard. Yet here I reside, flying the sky, smiling with love at those I espy, knowing soon I may die to the eye, and then surprise, as sky-wide I arise to resume in formless form my role of adoring this glorious moment. Yet still now I live in a drippy, weird form, an affectionate speck on the wall. Yet, if indeed our diminishing finishes within an undiminishing vision, we can call to all to not be appalled when it seems we withdraw from the life-death continuum, since that to which we allude is vaster than both me and you. This isn't a sermon, nor am I a vermin, yet I am now determined to be the most loving man that I can. No need to prolong, just want you to know that rain or snow, I grow closer to you than perhaps you know in all ways that go with universal flow.
How precious. What a beautiful consciousness, Tomas. Thank you so much for sharing with us. That's wonderful.
He said thank you for what you do. Thank you.
What?
He said thank you for what you do.
Oh, bless you, dear. So, Rahmani, would you give your email address if anybody wants to get the book?
Yeah. It's RAHTOMAS@gmail.com.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
He has, what, you have one or two books?
There's two. One, the second one is the second one is shared with two other elder Sufis. They invited Tomas to contribute. So the second book is 1/3 Tomas's work, more recent stuff.
Okay.
And if people just want a few poems, I can just email them the recent poem or whatever they want.
Oh, good, good. Well, thank you so much, dear ones. We appreciate that so much.
Thank you. Satnam.
Now, who else can share? Who else
I think
can share?
Someone else there?
Suzanne?
Yeah. Hi.
Oh, good. Okay. Yes, dear.
Okay, so it's not exactly about me, but it's about breath. Where I saw, let's say I saw something, an indiscretion happen, and it didn't happen to me, but I felt how it would affect me. And I, both people are good friends of mine, and I just did a heart breath as I watched what was going on, using that neutrality to just give myself separation, and it made me see how things can have a cause and effect way beyond our knowing, like there must be a reason for it happening. And it takes time to, as things play out, that you see in neutrality, you can see more clearly. And so I was doing heart breath, and what happened is the people that were involved asked me questions about what had happened. And they were trying to wrestle with themselves. And it gave me a space to be able to just maybe listen. That neutrality is very peaceful to other people. And I saw how it can heal. It's still not healed, but I can see how it's working. That's
wonderful.
All. Yeah.
Wonderful. So these people did actually ask you questions?
Yeah, it's still actually ongoing because there was something that wasn't handled properly, and it would be more affronting for me to say, well, it wasn't true and it wasn't handled properly. It's a little more interesting to sit back and wait for it to come to the surface for their own selves, and maybe be a sounding board to...
Isn't that the most...
It's amazing. Right now, I mean, just to experience it with the knowledge of heart breath and looking for guidance, and just I don't know. Maybe being a sounding board is the point. Is something. But it gives
Isn't
you
that
the
wonderful?
separation, or the I think the gift of neutrality. It's not easy for me. It's something I work at. And the breath does it.
Excellent. Yeah, I think most of us have to work at it. But this, what you're talking about, the gift of separation, does it mean that maybe you join with it on a lighter, a more expansive level, rather than just getting into tightening your mind and judging and so on?
Yeah, because if you do that, then you won't be able to see the overall. The process might take, something might come out of that situation that might take a week from now, 2 weeks, maybe hours, maybe days. But I am seeing that you'll see things turn, or you'll see cause, or you'll see, if you judge, you shut it up. If something, you somehow close a door. And now, it doesn't mean...
That's very well said.
That doesn't mean you don't see indiscretion. It doesn't mean you saw... I did see something that didn't go right. Why it didn't? Nah. So if I judged it harshly, I wouldn't have access to... I don't know. Yeah, just that, a door, because it's so broader than anything I would say.
Right. That judging, that holding down, that annoyance or whatever it is, it closes the pipeline to the this infinite, this knowledge from the infinite that takes care of things. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's I think I feel it. I feel it, and I also receive it. It doesn't just happen for other people. That heart breath also works with me.
That's right. That's right. Very wonderful, dear. Very wonderful. Now I'm tempted to ask you all to write essays about your experience so that we can share them all over the world. But I'm not going to put you to that trouble. But if you feel like sharing, it would be great if you would put it on the Facebook Soul Answer. Because
does that mean the intricacies of how I feel things, like the intricacies of a situation? Or does it mean just the overall, like what we're
what you just described.
Okay.
What you just described about how you go into the flow, that neutrality that you get to by heart breath, and then just, describe what happened and the difference from what it used to be to what it is now.
I will.
And Hargoben, that would be great if you would like to do that too. Anybody. Okay. Thank you, dear.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Now, anyone else who can share? We have, 1 minute left? Is that right? Okay.
This is Jerry and Juno. I can share for 1 minute. This is Jerry and Juno.
Yes, dear.
Hey, recently, it was like last week, even just a couple days ago, where I had to end a long-term friendship with a friend. Long story short, she was pretty judgmental and really negative, and I just knew I had to break loose of that. And when I was making that decision and breaking loose, I was doing heart breath. And then something I noticed this morning, because, I was like really close to this person and our energies were tied and, when I woke up this morning and something popped into my head and I felt like I ended the relationship like a year ago. And I'm like, no, because I kind of felt like I was like in some time warp or something where it was like, everything was at peace. I says, I let go of that a year ago. But I says, no, that was only like 5 days ago. And it just, for some reason, it seems so long ago where it's not even an issue anymore. You know how time heals and everything. So that was just kind of really cool this morning because I had to use something just to, sustain me during this break from her. And that's what I've been doing, and so.
How fabulous! You're free.
Yeah, it does.
It's
really
not like
great.
You don't love her. It's like you're not drawn into that. How can you say that tightness, that fighting, that all of that junk.
Yeah, I feel.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate that, dear.
Thank you.
Oh, lovely sharing today. Lovely. Okay, so God bless you all, and we will meet next week. And so keep up your heart breath. Keep up your flow. Jump from the junk to the flow. Okay. So sit straight, palms together. Breathing beautifully. And inhale to begin. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Inhale. And please bow to this beautiful infinity that comes through your neutrality, comes through your breath. Bless you all. Talk to you next week. Anam.
Anam.